My name is Clara. I'm 38 years old, and for the last 12 years, I thought I had built the perfect life with the man I loved. I was wrong. It started at a birthday dinner, his birthday. We were at a rooftop restaurant in Istanbul, candles flickering in the soft breeze, the city glowing behind us, and yet, he wouldn't even look me in the eye. He was too busy texting, smiling at someone who wasn't me. I had spent the whole day preparing for this moment. I booked the venue, selected his favorite wine, even had the chef prepare the lamb just the way his mother used to make. I wore the emerald dress he once said made me look like I belonged in a movie. But tonight, he barely noticed. He kept checking his phone, laughing quietly. Then, suddenly, he sighed, put his phone down, looked at me, and said, "You know, Clara, you've really become just a housewife. No ambition. No sparkle. Just there." I froze. The waiter was standing right beside us, pouring wine. A couple nearby turned to look. My throat tightened. I smiled politely, said nothing. I'd heard the whispers before. The late meetings. The perfume on his collar. But I had told myself, he wouldn't risk everything. Turns out, he already had. That night, I followed him home. Not in my car, in a taxi, 2 blocks behind. He parked down the street, walked up to a sleek white car already waiting outside our house. Blonde. Long hair. Tight red dress. She stepped out, laughing as she kissed him on the cheek. They didn't even go inside. They drove off, together. I didn't cry. Not then. I stood there on the sidewalk in heels that were too high, heart that was too full, staring at a man who had just erased 12 years of partnership with 1 sentence and 1 kiss. But here's the thing he didn't know. While he was out building his career, I was building something too. The house. My name's on the deed. The company he manages? I'm the founding investor. The luxury apartment he takes his meetings in? It's mine, fully paid, with my maiden name on the contract. And that car she drove? Yeah, mine too. The thing about being just a housewife is that you see everything. You learn patience. You master silence. And if you're smart, you build. I didn't confront him that night. I just smiled when he came home, said I wasn't feeling well. I let him believe I was blind. Because sometimes, the best revenge is quiet. But oh, the storm was already coming. The next morning, I woke up before him, like always. Made coffee, like always. Fed the dog, opened the curtains, watered the plants, every routine, perfectly normal, except that everything inside me had shifted. He came into the kitchen, yawning, scratching his beard like nothing happened, like he hadn't just shattered me on a rooftop 12 hours earlier. "Morning," he mumbled, barely kissing my cheek. "Morning," I said back, soft and neutral. And right then, in that moment of silence between 2 people pretending everything's okay, I made a decision. I was going to leave. Not just him, but the version of myself that had been shrinking for years, sacrificing, making space, waiting for recognition that never came. But I wouldn't leave in pain. I would leave with purpose. I went to the study and opened my personal files, the ones he never bothered to ask about. There, I had everything: property titles, investment documents, the car lease with her name listed as secondary driver, and my lawyer's contact. I'd been smart. From day one, I kept things separate. I never gave up my maiden name on paper. And when his startup flopped 4 years ago, I paid for the rebrand. I bought the domain. I introduced him to the client who now pays half his salary. And he had the audacity to call me just a housewife. I sent my lawyer a short message. Proceed with Phase 1. Quietly. Phase 1 meant freezing the shared accounts, removing him as a beneficiary, updating my will, and, this part made me smile, requesting retrieval of the luxury car from an unauthorized driver. Her car. I didn't even flinch. That same afternoon, I walked past him in the living room. He was on a call, talking in that smug tone he used when he was flirting, confident, careless, fake. He didn't even see the envelope I dropped on the table. Inside, a formal notice of financial separation, effective immediately. Signed. Sealed. He didn't open it until hours later. And when he did, I heard it, the thud of his glass hitting the table, followed by footsteps storming into the kitchen. What the hell is this? I looked up slowly, calmly. It's clarity, I said. For someone who thought I was just a housewife, you sure depended on me for a lot. His face went pale. His voice lowered. You're being dramatic. No, I whispered. I'm being done. He stared at me, like he was seeing me for the first time. Like maybe the woman who cooked his meals and paid his bills and smiled through betrayals might not be so simple after all. I walked past him and headed for the door. I have an appointment, I said. With who? With her leasing company. He didn't respond. But I did hear something as I closed the door behind me, a soft whisper under his breath. Damn. Yeah, damn right. I arrived at the leasing office 10 minutes early. I sat there, legs crossed, hands calm on my lap, but inside me, there was a storm I couldn't name. It wasn't anger. It wasn't grief. It was power, finally waking up. The manager came out to greet me, clipboard in hand, already aware of the situation. Mrs. Achiel, we've prepared the documents. As per your ownership rights, the vehicle will be retrieved today. I smiled. Let her keep the earrings, I said. But the car? That's mine. While he signed the order, I asked them to send the towing company directly to the cafe she always tagged herself in. That place where she posted blissful mornings with cappuccinos and stolen husbands. Meanwhile, back home, he was unraveling. He had finally read all the fine print. The prenup he never cared to read. The trust fund he forgot I had. The fact that every property we shared was actually part of a holding company I owned, one I built with the inheritance he once called just my little money. And as he paced in the living room, sweating in his overpriced shirt, the call came in. From her. Why is your name not on anything? He didn't answer. Why is my car being towed? Still no answer. Clara owns all of it? Are you serious? Then came the sound he feared most, the click of the line going dead. He ran upstairs. I wasn't there. He checked my closet. Half empty. The drawers. Cleared. The safe? Locked, with a new code. And on the bed, a note in my handwriting, soft and elegant, like I'd written it with a glass of wine and a smirk. Next time you call someone just anything, make sure they don't hold the pen to your entire life. He called me. I didn't answer. He texted. Apologized. Begged. We can fix this. You're right. I've been blind. Please, come home. But I wasn't home anymore. Not in any sense of the word. I was driving through the city with the windows down, music playing, sun on my face, and peace in my chest. It's funny how clear everything becomes once you take your power back. I stopped at a red light. Looked in the mirror. I didn't look sad. I didn't look broken. I looked like a woman who had finally remembered who she was, and who she never had to be again. A week passed. No shouting. No confrontation. Just silence. He sent flowers, messages, long voice notes filled with half-truths and shaky apologies. I didn't reply. Not even once. Then came the message that made me pause. Please. Just one dinner. No drama. No arguments. I just need to say what I should have said before. I read it 3 times. Not because I was unsure, but because I wanted to feel nothing when I answered. One dinner. That's it. I arrived 5 minutes late, on purpose. He was already seated at our old table, the one by the window, the one where we used to talk about baby names and where we'd grow old. He looked nervous, a little thinner, a little lost. Clara, he stood, like a man trying to rewrite his own history. You look incredible. I sat down. Smiled politely. Didn't respond. He tried to act casual at first, asked how I'd been, if I was sleeping okay. But I could see the fear behind his charm. The desperation leaking through every word. Then came the confession. Clara, I was blind. I thought I needed more, and I didn't realize. I already had everything. You were everything. You are. He reached for my hand. I didn't move. I know I messed up. But if you could just give me one more chance, we can fix this. We can rebuild everything. I slowly reached into my clutch and pulled out the envelope I'd been holding onto since that morning. I already started rebuilding, I said, sliding it across the table. He stared at it, confused. What is this? Signed divorce papers, I said calmly. Asset divisions complete. You're officially free. He blinked, stunned. Wait, what? You're serious? Completely, I said. You can keep the company. And the debt that comes with it. The brand? That's mine. The client? Gone. Transferred. And that car she loved? Already towed, sold, and paid in full. His face went pale. I don't understand, why would you? I leaned forward, my voice soft but steady. Because you called me just a housewife. He swallowed hard. You forgot, I continued, this housewife built the life you bragged about. Funded the dreams you pretended were yours. Held up every single wall you eventually leaned on. He looked around, like the walls were closing in. But they weren't. I was just finally walking out of them. I stood up. Straightened my dress. Picked up my purse. And before I turned to leave, I said, next time you meet a quiet woman in heels, ask yourself if she owns the floor you're standing on. And I walked out. No tears. No anger. No regrets. Just a woman who finally chose herself. If you've ever been underestimated, betrayed, or called just anything, you're not alone. Ever had a moment where you finally saw your own worth? If this story made you feel something, you know what to do. Like, comment, and subscribe. Because sometimes, the most powerful revenge is silence.